Welcome back to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast, the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world. I know a lot of people were excited to hear what Tyler had to say. He's the only one that's not here. Maybe we'll call him at some point. I don't know. But Pete's here, Pat's here, Jake's here. We're in a hotel room in New York City. And what, Pat? What's the matter? What?
You're just fucking with me.
What do you mean?
You told me you're in Mississippi.
I know, I lied.
As I said, you're just fucking with me. That's what I meant.
No, I just lied about it.
When did you lie?
Like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. You're just fucking with me.
It was just a prank between buds.
Wow. What a prank.
Did I get you good?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. I'm over here telling everyone. People have to text back and say, guys, Jared's not in Mississippi.
I'm not in Mississippi.
What a fucking hooligan he is.
Yeah. That was a wild, wacky bit I just did.
Oh, man. You little rascal, you.
Oh, I hate this team. Oh, God. What a terrible team. This is, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not a fun episode. That's not a really great sell to the people that are just tuning in, first couple of minutes here.
It's going to be fun. Me and Pat are here, and it's going to be fun. It would not be fun if Tyler were here. No disrespect to Tyler, but Tyler feels it. Tyler feels it when this team is not doing well. I know you feel it too. I know you feel it too, but like, I think that you can turn it into like you can turn your pain into like some goofy laughs here and there. Yeah. Like Tyler only feels the pain.
Yeah. He only feels the pain. Yeah.
Like
probably
I bet Tyler hasn't smiled in like 3 months.
No. He did say he said it's his girlfriend's birthday. I think they were going to Encore tonight. So he was like, I'm not going to miss an episode the rest of the way. I was like, I don't think it matters. At this juncture, I don't think that it matters who's here, what we talk about. This team, I'm not going to say cancel the season because there's still, I think coming into today, I saw like Fangraphs had the Red Sox playoff chances at like 20-something%. That's fucking outrageous. This team is not making the playoffs. They're an abomination. You just lost 3 out of 4 games to the fucking Kansas City Royals. They're not even a real baseball team.
I think it says more about like the problem with this playoff structure than it says about like the quality of this team. Like if a team like the Red Sox is in contention to make the playoffs and has like a pretty significant chance of making the playoffs, even if it's like a quarter percent chance, that's too high, and you are letting too many teams into the playoffs.
In the National League, it's not that bad because I think the team on the fringe right now is the Brewers, and they were just in first place like last week. So in the National League, it's like, you get the Phillies, you get the Brewers, and then the Cardinals are like flip-flopping with the Brewers in first place in the Central, but they've just won 7 straight after sweeping the New York Yankees in St. Louis. In the National League, it's like you're going to get every team that makes it is going to be somewhat of a quality baseball team. In the American League, I don't know. I mean, the teams that are in should be in, but the teams that are on the fringe are not playoff caliber baseball teams. Like you've got like the Guardians, the Red Sox, the Orioles. No disrespect to the Orioles. I mean, they've been a great story, but should they make the fucking playoffs? No. But like those are the fringe teams in the American League. So yeah, I'll never 100% truly give up on the Red Sox. Like 2020, like that season was a fucking joke. Like obviously I gave up on the Red Sox like from like the second week of the season. We knew that like once they start, like that team literally, and I say this all the time, they literally called dudes who hadn't pitched in the big leagues in like 10 years and were like, hey, do you want to come pitch for the Red Sox? And they were like, fuck yeah. That's what type of team that was. This team, I mean, people will, by the way, anyone that comes at me on Twitter for like, oh, you don't hold anyone accountable and you'll never say anything bad. It's like, I save that shit for the podcast. Like, I'm not going to, like, what do I get out of like bashing dudes on Twitter or whatever? Like nothing. but we can talk about it here on the actual show about the Red Sox. And I guess that's kind of where I want to start. Like, I don't think that it does us any good to like break down game by game, inning by inning, pitch by pitch, the fucking Red Sox losing 3 out of 4 against the Kansas City Royals. I guess like right now, where we would start is how the fuck did we end up in this situation? Like going 20-6 in June was just an aberration. The rest of the season, and I tweeted the stat, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and there are some, and I'm assuming that they're younger, like happy-go-lucky Red Sox fans. When I tweeted like the Red Sox are 20-6 in June, and then in the 3 months outside of that, they've got like a 400 winning percent. I think they had like the third or fourth worst winning percentage in Major League Baseball if you take June out. And then people were like, oh yeah, if you take out the wins, they have losses. I'm like, no. I took out 1 month of play, and there are still 3+ months of play outside of that. April, May, July, and now we were a week into August. And the Red Sox outside of June have, at the time, the 4th worst winning percentage in baseball. So at that point, it's not unfair to be like, yeah, this team's not very good. Like, this is not a good baseball team. And it's not one. People want to blame Heimblum. There's a lot of Heimblum haters out there. Oh, you won't say anything about Heimblum, and why don't you turn your back on your boy? Like, yes, Heimblum is very much responsible for a lot of this, but there's players on this team that haven't done shit. Like, there are players that you could look at and be like, you haven't done your job. You haven't done your job. Other guys that are on the team got put in impossible spots. Like Jackie Bradley Jr. got designated for assignment and then released. It's like, yeah, he was supposed to be a 4th outfielder. Like, you want to blame Jackie Bradley Jr. It's like, he is what he is. He hasn't been able to hit in like 3-4 fucking years. He's an excellent defender. And clearly today in Kansas City, we saw what the team looks like when you don't have a good defensive center fielder. I mean, Jesus Christ, like Jaren Duran, who, by the way, is like Mookie Betts, came up as like a natural second baseman. And now you have him in center field. We'll talk about Jaren Duran in a little bit. Like, that's probably going to be its own goddamn segment. But you look around, Heimblum's roster construction, you brought in, first of all, I want to say Hunter Renfroe and Kyle Schwarber have combined for like over 60 home runs. You just like never got. And in addition to that, the 2 guys that you had last year that you don't have this year, and Schwarber and Renfroe, combined for 60+ home runs already. JD and Bogey, they haven't hit for power all year. Like, I hate to, I'm not calling out Xander, but it's like, it hurts when you have a guy that you can usually plug in for like 25+ homers. JD used to be a between 35 and 40 home run guy. And now I'm pretty sure are they both in single digits for homers? Something like that. If they're not single digits, they're close. So the guys that are here haven't done their jobs. The guys that, like, a lot of the moves that Heimblum has made haven't worked out. And I saw Lou Merloni made this point. Tyler was echoing the sentiment on Twitter saying, all right, if this team sucks and you're not going to contend this year, which I think we can all throw our hands up and say, like, this is not a World Series contender or a playoff contender, never mind the World Series, then why didn't you get under the luxury tax? Because if you get under the luxury tax, it's like you throw some qualifying offers out there, and then you get compensation. Now you're getting 4th round picks instead of 2nd round picks. And then you have the situation with Mookie Betts, where every single year that you go over the luxury tax, that tax percentage keeps going up and up and up and up to where you're going to have to get under it anyway, so that you're not paying $100 million for a $30 million player. So what was the point of not getting under the luxury tax this year? Like, some of the decisions that this team has made, you just sit there and you're like, what the fuck? Like, we're just slapdick baseball fans. There's no way that we know more than the people that are actually in charge. But some of the things that have had Blue Moon ad on TV right now, shout out to Blue Moon, we'll get to them in a little bit. Some of the decisions that this team has made, it just leaves you standing there saying, what the fuck is going on? And I think one of my close personal friends, Coley Mick, we're having this conversation, and we were going over, like, there's, I don't want to say there's too many cooks in the kitchen, but like, you've got John Henry, you've got Tom Warner, and we all know that they have interjected in the past and made baseball decisions for this team. You've got Heimblum as the chief baseball officer. You've got Eddie Romero. You've got Raquel Ferreira. You've got BOH. That you've got Sam Kent. There's so many people that are in positions of like they have 3 or 4 assistant general managers, and I just don't feel like we're all on the same page here. It's crazy to me that a team like the Boston Red Sox, with the financial flexibility that they have and the resources and just the baseball minds that they have in the front office. Alex Cora, by the way, that's another guy that in 2018, like he was someone that was kind of calling the shots. I don't know what's going on anymore. Like, I think Alex Cora was one of the guys that was like, hey, get me Steve Pearce. And then Sugar Daddy Dave was like, if you want Steve Pearce, here he is. So you've got a lot of people that are just in the mix as it pertains to making decisions on this team. And I mean, they've got a losing record. And they're over the luxury tax. And again, to Lou Merloni's point, you look at the teams that are over the luxury tax this year, they're all championship contenders. And then there's the Boston Red Sox. So that's where I'm at right now.
The 60 plus home runs between Schwarber and Renfroe is hilarious because you were like, those other guys are in single digits. I just looked at the roster. There's one player or two players on the active roster that have double digit home runs, like that weren't just traded for at the deadline, like who have been here all year. Story has double digit, but he's on the IL. And Dahlbeck just hit all those in the same week. Right. And Dahlbeck just got there like last week. So they've got like one guy who has consistently hit for power this entire season. Yeah, it's Raffy. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's fucking insane. The Pittsburgh Pirates have more home runs as a team than the Red Sox do.
That's eye-opening. And yeah, I mean, you sit here and I'm a 162 guy. Jake's a 162 guy. You guys watch some games. Like it's crazy. It's crazy to fucking sit here every night and watch this team. Like up until I want to say they lost on Thursday, right? Yeah. They won on Friday. They lost on Thursday. Going into the game on Thursday, I was like, all right, if you can take 3 or 4 or even sweep this godforsaken Royals team, then there's a pulse, there's life. And it took me until about Saturday, more so today, like when Raffy hit that home run to make it 5-1, for this team to break me. Like when Raffy hit the home run to make it 5-1, and then Pham hit the 2-run homer to make it 5-3. It takes a lot for me to feel nothing when the Red Sox hit a home run. And today, I felt nothing. I am a broken man. I hate to say it, but watching this Red Sox team this year has become a chore. And I said it to Jake earlier that, what was it, Saturday night, I want to say? Yeah, because there were some big matchups this weekend. You had Mets Braves. That was a big showdown between the Braves were chasing the Mets in the NL East. And then you had the Padres and Dodgers, where the Padres just got Juan Soto. And it's like, all right, yeah, we may not be close in the standings, but we just fucking loaded the fuck up with Juan Soto and Josh Bell. Let's see about this shit now. Neither series really, both series were one-sided. But on Saturday, 2020 might have been the only season ever since I've had like the multiple screen setup that I put the Red Sox on like another TV and like I put a different game on the big TV with the sound. And I'm kind of getting to that point in 2022 where there are other games going on while the Red Sox are playing that I'm much more interested in watching.
I mean, I'm famously not a 162 guy, but like from my vantage point, the energy definitely has started to shift a little bit over the past week or so. And like observing the 162 people is like almost as frustrating as I would assume being a 162 guy is, because you and Tyler have consistently talked yourself into this team being like, okay, like if this happens, this team will have life. If this happens, like we'll get to the trade deadline, this team might have life. If this person comes back, we're going to have life. Like just kind of got to like hold on. And for me, like the entire way, and I've said it for months, it's just like this team is a definition of mediocre because they do give you that life. Like they do provide the positives, but they will immediately erase them immediately and piss it away by playing like shit. And like it's happened all year long with the exception of 1 month. And like for a couple of months, you guys talked about like this is not the team that we saw in June. Like the team in June is like, that's a really good baseball team. And I kept saying like June is the outlier, not fucking July. Like everybody kept talking about like July and how bad it was. They're not going to play like that. Yeah, they may not play as bad as they played in July and like be historically bad, but this is not a good baseball team. And they have not been a good baseball team for most of the year. June is the outlier where they were a good baseball team. This is not a good baseball team. And yeah, they've had bad luck, but they've also pissed it away by not being a good baseball team when they've pissed away games. And like, that's not bad luck. That's being a bad baseball team.
I want to say what was that last night? The walk-off homer, Garrett Whitlock, which just goes to show you like this team is just fucking cursed. Garrett Whitlock, 2 outs, 2 strikes, gives up a walk-off homer to a dude that's not even hitting 200. The Red Sox have been walked off 8 times this year, and no other team in baseball has been walked off more than 6 times. It's crazy. And you can't even point to that and be like, well, Heim, like you didn't fucking get a closer. Like Garrett Whitlock's your best reliever by a long shot. And he was the one that gave up the walk-off homer to the fucking Kansas City Royals and a shitty hitter at that.
And it's not like a bunch of those walk-offs came because of the bullpen either. Like early in the season, they were just throwing balls into the fucking stands and teams were walking it off. So like the pitching wasn't going to save you. Like maybe they put those guys on base, but like you lost the game because you were fucking throwing the ball into the upper deck because you can't fucking field.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's not fun to watch. It's not an enjoying. So the other thing that I was thinking of earlier too was that in years past, like we've seen last place Red Sox teams before, but I think back to 2014 and like, yeah, that team finished in last place. They sold off half the team at the deadline, but it's like Mookie Betts came up in September and Christian Vasquez, and you were starting to see like Xander Bogaerts. This is his first full season with the Red Sox, even though they fucked that up too. They put him at third base when he's a shortstop. Thanks a lot, John Farrell. But they were like, it's like, all right, we're looking towards the future. Like we're building something here. You can see it. Like you can see the core, and these guys just got to get their feet wet. We just drafted Pat Light a couple years ago. I can't wait to see him blowing fucking hundos at the big league level. This is going to be sick. This year, it's like you're in last place. Marcelo Meyer is 3 years away. Tristan Casas would have been here by now, but you had the ankle injury in mid-May. I mean, I want to say he's got like 4 or 5 straight games with a double. He had 2 doubles today. Bring him up. Like, do something. Like, give us something. Like, what the fuck are we watching on a nightly basis where we have to sit there and it's insane. It's insane watching this fucking baseball team.
And like in previous years, like shit was bad, but it wasn't like downright embarrassing. Maybe with the exception of the Bobby Valentine year, like because that was just so chaotic. This is downright embarrassing. Like the Red Sox are like the laughing stock of Major League Baseball for the most part. And that's like there's shit that happens almost every single night where it's like making national highlight reels because the Red Sox are so embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Pat, when obviously it was a small sample. When you came up in 2016, we interviewed Eduardo Nunez after the Red Sox won in 2018 because he was in the clubhouse in 17 with John Farrell and then 18 with Cora. And he said that when he walked into the Red Sox clubhouse, they were in first place. And he was like, why does it feel like we're in last place? So like, how much for like this group, they're in last place. Like, how much of a difference does it make having a manager that can navigate how shitty it is right now versus like having a manager where it's like, this fucking sucks even worse because of this guy?
It's enormous. The thing is with this team right now is the difference between like this team and when I played in 16. You know, like there was an obvious person you looked to when the shit was hitting the fan, and obviously it was Dustin Pedroia, it was David Ortiz. If you was you want to go to the pitcher's world, you're looking at like a David Price, you're looking at Rick Porcello, guys like that. But like on this team, like you don't really have any cohesive ability. You have guys falling apart out in center field and yelling at fans. You got your only consistent guy. And I don't want to put a lot on Xander and JD because if I'm a pitcher, and again, I although I wasn't a successful pitcher because I wasn't able to execute, I'm still a smart enough guy to understand how to throw hitters. And like, I look at this fucking lineup. Xander's not seeing anything fucking good. If Ravi's in the lineup, he's my biggest threat, obviously. But like these, I have two threats really. Jaren Duran's not hitting the ball. Like Vasquez just left the lineup. JD's been struggling this year. Like these guys, like there's no one. I'm not concerned about this lineup at all right now as a pitcher. And coming into almost every year for the past couple of years, it's been like, all right, we might give up 6 runs, but we should probably score 8. Like that's been our thing. Having Alex in this tug, honestly, I would be scared to see what this record would be with a different type of manager in this clubhouse, because it would be an abomination to baseball. Because I've been positive, Jared. You've known that.
Super positive guy.
I've been a positive guy throughout the year, and I still believe this team. I know Pete talked about how June was the aberration, and it is. I mean, there's no other way about it right now. June was the outlier. But what you saw in June, if you looked and watched the baseball team, fuck that they had a weak schedule, fuck all that stuff. The way they played the game was a team that enjoyed playing together, that they were coming together as a group. They're kind of figuring out, rallying around some bad injuries, and we're getting ready to prepare for when Chris Sale came back and some injuries may have come back. Then in July, we saw what the actual heart of this team was, is they got punched in the mouth. And good fucking teams come back, and this team hasn't. Like, and I keep going back to that Yankees. I think it was like 16 or 17 straight no-hit innings, and the second game of that second no-hitter, they ended up winning. Like they got punched in the fucking mouth, and they came back. And that's the making of a great team. This team, although they've played well in spurts, they're extraordinarily inconsistent, and they get punched in the mouth, and there's no fight. There is no. We're fighting fans. We're doing things that are just like, it's outrageous what I'm seeing on this baseball field against a bad Royals team. Like, it's just as positive as I was when I was out in Ocean City and try to be the guy, the voice of not reason, but some positivity for this fan base.
Patty Good Vibes.
Vibes. I'm trying to be Patty Good vibes. And we got some pieces on this team, but this is kind of what Tyler says. And I wish Tyler was here for this, but I'll give him credit. And kind of what you spoke to, Jared, about Lou on your 15-minute rant to start this podcast. Lou, you have the ability to be the Boston Red Sox and add pieces. This team's inconsistent because we have missing pieces. That's why we're inconsistent. So you can go add pieces and make this team better and make them more consistent. Or you could get rid of the few pieces that you have and try to rebuild for the future. Doing the middle ground shit is not usually a very good idea. Although I can kind of get it from a business standpoint. You make a ton more money in the playoffs. They're not really going to push that hard for it. But, John Henry, I'm sure, loved a little extra cash in his pocket for making the playoffs. So I can understand probably business aspect why they kind of just did this on the low end and didn't really give a fuck about the year. Just hope they sneak in. But it's just, we were not set up for the future right now. Or like you said, regardless of how unbelievably excited everyone was for me in 2014 about Pats possibly coming next year. Regardless of me, you had guys that were kind of in my shadow with Mookie and Vasky and a lot of these guys that were trying to trend up, but they were trying to get out of my shadow, so I let them go first. But I don't know, like, I'm not a minor league guy, but like I sit here and I have 2 162 guys on my podcast, and I don't hear anything that you guys are super excited about. Like, no. I know Coley was a big minor league guy. Is he talking about anyone that we should be like thrilled that's coming up through this system? Yeah,
it's Rafaela. He's got five names, and I only know one of them. But he's I don't know. It's not like someone that's like, blue chip. I mean, obviously people are excited about Tristan Cassis, but
of course,
if he comes up, like that's going to be the reason to watch. The Red Sox are just going to be fucking dragging ass to the finish line. But it's like, well, tune in. You got Tristan Cassis. But there is one point that I want to make about the future here. But first, DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any game and get $100 in free bets instantly. Plus, all customers can combine multiple bets for a shot at an even bigger payout with DraftKings same-game parlays. At DraftKings Sportsbook, you'll be able to bet on your favorite batter to hit a double in his next plate appearance, your favorite pitcher's next pitch to be a strike, and so much more. That would have been fun to bet on Jacob deGrom today. How many fucking swings and misses? You have like 25 swings and misses today. That would have been nice to do a little live bet. We can do that. We're in a gambling state right now. Jake.
Yeah, we should do some gambling.
Let's do some fucking gambling, dude. Let's do it tomorrow. We'll be at the Mets game. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. All you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared. New customers can make any $5 bet and get $100 in free bets instantly. That is promo code Jared, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. MLB trademarks used with permission. So the whole thing about looking to the future here, and not to get all like bleak and dark on the subject of the Red Sox, but this is going to be a motherfucker of a winner. It's going to be one or the other. It's, you're either going to pay Bogaerts or you have more shit on the horizon. Like, this season has been a tough pill to swallow. And then if you have this winter coming up, Bogey could walk, JD could walk, Nate could walk. And if those guys walk, it's like, all right, well, you were over the luxury tax. So it's like, cool. You get like some 4th round picks. Sweet. Like I mean,
baby.
Yeah. It's and obviously the Devers situation, if you don't pay him this winter, now that lingers into next year. And, Heimblum's a smart guy. Maybe he can make some moves here that make the Red Sox at least competitive next year. But this seems like a lot of holes to fix in one offseason, especially when the best players on your team are, you've either traded them already or they're not under contract for next season. And that's a lot of guys to bring back. And by the way, they're already here now and you still suck. So you need those guys plus other guys that are also good. So it just seems like a tall task for me.
It does. But the thing that I will say, as much as I've criticized this ownership group and this like leadership group, is that they don't particularly seem to love sucking shit 2 seasons in a row. They will like very aggressively course correct if they can. And I don't know if that's going to be available in front of him. And I don't know if Heim is going to be like Mr. Aggressive, because we really haven't seen him be that since getting here. But I'm willing to bet that there's going to be more pressure because of how shitty this season has been.
Yeah. I hate to be this guy, but I'm kind of this guy. And let me pull this up right now just so that I get it all correct here. When you talk about course correcting, I think the biggest example of that was 2014, 2015, right. The Red Sox were in last place. 2017, they went out and traded for Chris Sale. 2016 is when they signed David Price going into that season. And then they signed JD before 2018, boom, World Series champs. Things have like before you were like you were the firstborn child. So you got a lot of love and attention. And now it's like John Henry's got Liverpool, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Roush Fenway Racing, FSG Real Estate, Fenway Sports Management. Like, you got LeBron in the mix here. Like, there's a lot more kids to pay attention to now, where of course the Red Sox are out of his portfolio. You're still talking about one of the prize children of the mix, of the litter. So I'm not saying that John Henry doesn't care about the Red Sox anymore, but I mean, Liverpool is one of the biggest sports franchises in the world. the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, they're notable. Can you confirm, Pete? Notable.
Very notable.
NHL franchise.
Very notable. They have a guy named Sidney Crosby. Pretty big.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So it just when it was the Red Sox and Liverpool, it was kind of like my parents got divorced and my dad remarried and they have a kid already and it's fucking Liverpool.
He lives on the other side of the world. Like it's fine. Like there's not a lot of overlap there. They can love us both.
Sure. But it was still weird for a little bit and now it's fine. But now it kind of just feels like
and they're not done, by the way. Like LeBron wants to own a fucking NBA team. They've been talking about expanding into the NBA. Like their portfolio is only going to get bigger. And so the attention on the Red Sox is, it seems like the Red Sox should be like their like golden pony or whatever you want to call it, because like they print money at Fenway and it allows them to expand into other areas and stuff too. But like, what if they don't need to? They can just have fucking concerts every summer and like they're gonna make that money anyway. Like, it is a little concerning. And they also own the fucking media around here too, so they can at least like in a little bit of a way control what's said about them.
So here's where I land on the whole John Henry thing and how much he still cares about the Red Sox.
He doesn't.
At the end of the day, I still think that as long as John Henry is the owner of the Boston Red Sox, they'll be a top 5 payroll in Major League Baseball. I do. But where I have concerns in terms of his level of caring, like he can write a check, sure. But where I care about his level of interest in the team is what you said, Pete. When the Red Sox are just like back-to-back last place teams, will he interject and be like, hey, I don't care what your offseason plans are. David Price is the best starting pitcher on the free agent market. Sign him for, the Cardinals are going to pay him $185. How about $217? How's that sound? Boom, done. I just think that that's where I feel like he might veer off, is interjecting into the plans and be like, hey, if you're gonna try and like build this team like the Tampa Bay Rays, well, fuck you. Spend $300 million on this guy. You know, like I don't know if we're gonna see more of that.
I also don't think you want an ownership group that like either cuts corners or like tries to do things differently, and when that doesn't work out, you try to course correct, and then you give the money to the wrong guy as sort of like a saving face sort of deal,
like Pablo,
right? Like you want to be consistent. You want to give money to the guys that either came up through your system and like have proved that they can do it here, and they already have like that grace here, or you want to give it to guys that you're most confident will be able to do it here, like exports, and you bring them in because you're most confident. Like you don't want to just throw money at a guy because he is the best available in a time of desperate need. Like that is when you can get fucking burned. So like I think there needs to be more consistency in the approach from the ownership group, and we haven't seen that.
No, but sometimes their frantic spending has worked. Sometimes it's backfired. A lot of times it's backfired. Kyle Crawford backfired. Like Hanley and Pablo backfired. But Pat, let me ask you this. Put yourself, I know that you guys are close personal friends. Put yourself in the position of Xander Bogaerts right now. I know that he said that he wants to stay here. He wants to continue to play here. He wants to build a legacy here. Hearing his comments after the Christian Vasquez trade, and now having gotten multiple insulting offers from the Red Sox to stay here, if you were him, what would your interest level be in wanting to stay here, knowing, kind of seeing the writing on the wall, like knowing what the, like it's almost like if he takes a 5-year deal, you're kind of signing up for half of that being like a rebuild. Like, how much does the legacy matter at that point?
A ton. So you get to these stages in as a professional baseball player, right? So you have the minor league stage where you're just kind of a nobody, but you're trying to become a prospect. You get into the big leagues and you're a rookie. That's the sticking stage. All you want to do is do anything in your fucking power to stay in the big leagues. Once you get past that, you start getting to the Rafael Devers, where obviously Devers is a great version of this stage, but you get to the stage where you're trying to get to your first free agent deal. You get to arbitration, first free agent deal. After that portion, it's all legacy. You want a big contract and you want legacy. That's what you want. Xander's made enough money and Xander seems like the type of guy where he certainly wants to get paid what he's worth, but it's not all about, hey, where I thought Mookie was going to the highest bidder no matter what. I think, or like Robinson Cano, that was the same thing that Boris Corp told me back in those days when Cano was moving. He's like, wherever gives him the most money is where he's fucking going. I don't think that is what Xander will do, but it's a great point. It's a great question, Jared, because if I'm Xander Bogaerts right now, I've hired Scott Boras, which means I'm serious about my career. I'm not going to just have some schmo go in there and negotiate for me. And I know exactly what Scott's telling him. Scott's, listen, they're giving you shit offers so far. I know what you can get on the free agent market. And then on top of that, you got to consider, you don't know. It's not like you said, we have these bunch of great young up and coming guys. Who the fuck knows what moves they're going to make in the next couple of years to make this team a contender? And do you want to do that? Do our rivals down the Bronx seem to need a fucking shortstop. I bet you they might come knocking with a lot of money. Do you want to go win a couple World Series? Do you want to have that opportunity to play in and year out at a high level, or do you want the Red Sox, who seemingly want to become the Tampa Bay Rays? And who knows how long that'll take? And what something you guys talked about as far as John Henry's concerned, on a much smaller scale, it's something that I do. You need, though, and this is why you pin a lot on Heim, is like I rely solely on my manager at every restaurant location I have. So when they come to me and they tell me we need this, this, and this, I might say, well, no, fuck off for that. But I'm relying on their advice to me that this is what I need, because I have to worry about all of them. So I can't worry about the logistics of each one. Obviously, John Henry saw him big deals, all that stuff. He's obviously very heavily involved in that. But when you're talking about these small pieces that he's adding, these Steve Pierce type guys, you rely on Heim, and the moves are just not panning out the way we need them to pan out right now. And in my world, when that things start happening and I start trending in the wrong direction, it starts to be thought of, well, maybe I need to move on from this particular manager. Yeah.
We know that John Henry is not like a Red Sox fan. We know that he's a business guy. He's always been that way. But where there hasn't been an issue in the past is that he has typically delegated to big market guys, and the big market guys come to him and say, okay, we need you to write this check to either keep this guy or to go get this big splash. And this time around, and I don't know if it's because they didn't like what happened with Dombrowski and sort of how he gutted them in a big market pursuit of a World Series that they eventually got, which nobody's complaining about. But then they went with a small market guy in Heim Bloom, and now the mentality seems to be geared towards small market baseball, and they're either not like aggressively pursuing these guys that could make them a better baseball team that they should be able to be in on. It just seems like they're delegating to either the wrong guy or the mentality is the wrong approach.
The thing that I'm concerned about, and I want Jared's opinion on this, because again, he can talk minor league baseball a little better than I can. What year is this for Heim? 4?
He came in for 20. End of 19 before 20.
End of 19. So it's still about 2 and change. Nothing. We're not that far along yet. But I want to see what your job is here is to make clever roles in the big leagues, clever moves in the big leagues, and maybe you have a couple big signs just because you happen to be the Boston Red Sox. But then our farm system is supposed to be loaded. We're supposed to have like a very deep farm system, and maybe we do. Again, I can't speak intelligently about our farm system, so it's
like on the fringe of top 10. It's like I think it might be 11.
Okay, so we're getting there.
Getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah. That's good though. At least we have that in our back pocket. But again, when we're talking about a big league baseball team, and again, you're talking about the Boston Red Sox, you just don't. I mean, think about Ben Cherington. This is something that I think I talked about in our old podcast, Jared. But
Section 10?
Yeah, Section 10. But the thing that no one gives Ben Cherington credit for is that fucking Dave Dombrowski used all of his pieces to get the pieces that he wanted.
Correct.
So, like, Ben set the table. Dave just went and did the easy thing of, okay, yeah, we got these great guys. You want to give me the guy that's ready now for me.
Yeah.
And like anyone can theoretically do that. Like, but building that farm system and then having the ability to be the Boston Red Sox, people just don't want to wait for that. Ben Cherington had one bad offseason where he signed Pablo Sandoval and had some bad moves, and like, get the fuck out of here, kick rocks, man.
Yeah, and I don't even know that was a Ben Cherington decision, to be honest with you, because we know I can't remember who the fuck I was talking. Maybe Sammy P. I was talking to him the other day about Terry Francona's book. And in Francona's book, he talked about how there was essentially like a board meeting with Tito and like Tom Warner and those guys. And they're like, we're not sexy enough. Like our players, like the names aren't big enough. Like people aren't tuning in to watch the Red Sox on TV. We need sexier players. And then they went out and signed Pablo Sandoval and Hanley Ramirez. So like
big sexy.
That's when Tito was like, or it might have been Carl Crawford because Tito was gone after 11. But he wrote about how like we had become too big was the quote. He was like, we won in 2004, we won in 2007, and it used to be about the baseball on the field and winning baseball games, and now it's like Fenway Park is a fucking circus. And the game has become a TV show. Like Tom Warner's career is like TV shows, the fucking Cosby Show guy. So they're like, how do we bring in sexier players to get more people to watch? It just wasn't about the baseball anymore. And to Pat's point about Ben Cherington, like he was the one that fucking went out and got Yohan Moncada as an international free agent and drafted Michael Kopech. Like, he's 100% right. Like Dave Dombrowski did the job that any one of us could have done. Gone in there and be like, hey, you have an ace, White Sox? Cool. How about some of the top prospects that in our system that are also some of the top prospects in all of baseball? Does that sound good? Because I didn't have anything to do with like putting them in this organization. I just know that they're here. You can have them though. If we can have Chris Sale, great, done deal. Like anyone and Dave Dombrowski had the relationship with David Price from Detroit. When Dombrowski was in Detroit, David Price was there. They had a great relationship. Makes a couple phone calls. Hey, how do you like Boston? I fucking hate Boston. All right, but like your best offer is 185. How about 217? I fucking love Boston. And then it's done. Like that was what Dave Dombrowski did. And I mean, I'm not throwing shade at Dave Dombrowski. Thank you for 18. Like that was the best year of my fucking life by far, not even close. But when you talk about I see some of the tweets. I miss Dave Dombrowski. We need to be more like when Dombrowski was here.
The approach is not sustainable.
It's not. You can't go out and trade for a Chris Sale every year and sign a David Price every offseason.
No.
Like eventually your farm system is going to be a barren wasteland. And that's what it became by the time Dave Dombrowski was gone. And he was only here for like fucking 3-4 years?
Yeah.
I mean,
he came in like mid-15.
And like, I don't want to poo-poo on Heim too much because again, like it's still early. But like, and he has replenished the farm system in recent years, and that's well and good. But I think what's missing here right now is a lack of direction. Like the farm system is being rebuilt. That doesn't have to come at the sacrifice of a team that made the American League Championship Series last year, and in the span of less than 12 months has become an unmitigated disaster and the laughingstock of baseball. And I think a large part of that is a lack of direction from the front office, even at the trade deadline this year. Like they're not picking a direction to go in. And like, yeah, is it nice to get a couple players that can actually play a natural position and like know what the fuck that they're doing out there? Yeah, but like it's not going to salvage this season. Pick a direction and stick to it. Like, that's the only thing for me is that like we don't know where this team is going other than like, okay, the farm system's in better shape than it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I will. Like I said, I really do. And again, it's just a guess, but I have an idea of how much what kind of money is involved in being in the playoffs, even just as a sneak in. Like this trade deadline didn't feel to me like a Heim Bloom trade deadline. He does feel like he would have more of a direction in with where he wants to go with this club, and with the new system being, it just the pieces adding up of it being the first year where we have another, or I think it's the first year. I don't know if we did it last year, but where we have another club, we have more clubs in the playoffs. And the reason that's even on the table is because owners wanted it because there's so much money in playoff baseball.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Like, they may not even get a playoff game at home.
Right. If they were the third, they don't even get one.
Yeah, that's true. But I think there's some. I know they get a piece of TV deals. Like you don't need a home game in order to make a ton of money. And I'm pretty sure that's why that's why every owner wanted it, was just for how much money that comes in from the playoff pool. So that is my guess from a business baseball standpoint of why the trade deadline went the way the trade deadline did, because they didn't want to sell, because they're still like, okay, we're only 2.5 games, 3.5 games back from making it in and making this much money. But also we didn't want to buy because this team is what this team is. So it just felt like, to me, it felt like more of a let's make a little money on a mediocre team than let's go in a larger direction in the team. And then that also could be, to Pete's point, why maybe John Henry buying a bunch of other teams maybe will lack a little bit of direction in this club because he's focused on other things.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like I've been told that the Red Sox were not profitable in 2018. There's no way. But that's what I was told. But
they were not profitable in 2018.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like we want to win a title. We're all in. We're spending the fuck on this roster, and we just want to win the championship. And we don't care.
Yeah, but like their payroll wasn't like $1 billion. Like that team.
No.
How many fucking $14 Bud Lights do they sell on a nightly basis? That team, I don't give a fuck what they say. That team was profitable.
Yeah,
certainly.
So that's why during the pandemic, when it was like, oh, tell us where and when, and they don't want to pay us our full salaries, and all the players like, open the books. You guys don't want to pay us. You guys are doing okay, I think. And obviously, Major League Baseball teams are not going to open the books for that reason, because I think if they did, there would be a lot of unhappy players who would have a very strong case to be paid more fairly if the books were open. But
yeah, if they open the books, I would piss on the books, because it would show that they are a highly profitable team.
Yeah, egregiously. And in 2018, based off a quick Google search, in top line revenue, they brought in $516 million. So either they're running the worst business in America, and that's how they lost $560 million, or they're lying to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's where we're at. And I already saw Tomasi already had the piece yesterday or the day before. Like, we're already talking about Cora and his future with this team.
No, fuck that.
Cora is not the guy that you want to start shooting arrows at in all of this. Like, to Pat's point earlier, where would this team be if Cora wasn't the guy in that clubhouse trying to keep egos in check and the room upbeat, when Cora's not the guy that he got sent into the season without a first baseman until the first week of August. He didn't have a right fielder. Kike went down. You didn't have Sale. He came back for a game and a couple of innings. Like, Walker's gone down. You missed Evaldi for a month. And I hate when people are like, you can't use injuries as an excuse. The fuck you can. Like, of course you can. Would the Red Sox have won more baseball games if they were healthy? Yeah. Like, you can point to that as a reason why they didn't play better this year. But you can also point to poor roster construction. That's on Heim. Like, you can blame the injuries, but when you don't have a fucking first baseman for the first 3-4 months of the goddamn year, and guys have even said as much, pitchers have said as much. When you have a first baseman over there that's never played first base, and you saw what Franchi was, he was an abomination defensively, that makes everyone else walk on eggshells. Like, I've got to make a perfect, like, that's in the back of your head. Hey, I just got a hot shot hit right at me, and now I got to make a perfect throw on top of it because this guy doesn't know what the fuck's going on over there. Like, that's the team that was assembled. Like, you have Eric Hosmer there, and obviously we've talked about that and the negative defensive run saved or whatever defensive metric you want to use. Like he's been below average, but he's a first baseman, and guys know that in the infield. So I don't want to hear anything about Alex Cora. If Alex Cora is not the manager of this baseball team, it's simply because he does not want to be part of a rebuild, which that happens. Like that does happen where a manager is just like, listen. And I think Alex Cora is on the record as saying, I don't want to be an old manager. Like I want to do this while I'm young. I want to it's a box I want to check. I want to win championships, but I don't want to essentially, I'm putting words in his mouth. I don't want to be Bobby Cox. I don't want to be knocking on the doorstep of death and filling out lineup cards. Like you just don't want to do that. So I get it. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot to ask of a guy that signed up to be the manager of the Boston Red Sox. And now you're going to be sitting in the dugout of a team that we don't, as we sit here right now, no idea what the future of this club is.
You ready?
I don't know what the fuck comes next after the season.
You ready for an analytic right now?
Sure. PD Analytics.
For the people that I don't even know if there's anybody out there that's blaming Alex Cora or being like they should go in a different direction than Alex Cora. But
trust me, I get it. I get those tweets of people.
Well, here's a
to blame
stat
Cora
that you can drop on somebody. The one season in which Alex Cora didn't coach, and I know there are extenuating circumstances here. The Red Sox had the worst winning percentage in franchise history since 1932. So. Just when Alex Cora wasn't the coach, it was the worst winning percentage of a baseball team since 1932 in Boston.
Jake, how do you feel about these Boston Red Sox?
I just feel like it's the same thing every week. We just lose 2 out of 3. We lose 3 out of 4. We sit here, we talk about the direction of the franchise. It's like there's nothing else you can even talk about. We're searching for positives, but it's just we have no real massive prospects coming up. We're just losing series after series. It's a tough spot to be in.
Tough spot to be in.
It breaks my heart to hear Jake's spirit broken. I can literally hear it in his voice. It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Look what you're doing to my boy. Look how they massacred my boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Can we talk about Jaren Duran,
drinking,
please?
Yeah. We'll talk about that right after we talk about these dark and stormies, though.
Okay.
There you go.
Because we all know the power of an MVP. They make good teams great. Like Nolan Arenado, 3-run bomb today for the St. Louis Cardinals. By the way, the curse of Joey Gallo is real. The Yankees have not won a game since they traded Joey Gallo, and the Dodgers have not lost a game. And the folks at Gosling's Rum, they know a little something about MVPs too. All the most valuable fans and super fans across the world who have made the Gosling's Dark and Stormy one of the most popular cocktails on the planet. That delicious combo of smooth Gosling's Black Seal rum and spicy Gosling's Stormy ginger beer cannot be beat for a summertime cocktail. Visit goslingsrum.com right now to get Gosling's products delivered straight to your doorstep and get $15 off your order of Gosling's rum, ginger beer, or Dark and Stormy cans using the promo code DraftKings. You must be 21 and over. Please drink responsibly. The Jaren Duran thing was not good. So Jaren Duran, some of this was, there was a play earlier in the game, a ball, and everyone says this going back to Little League, high school, whatever level you want to talk about. The most difficult play to make is the ball that's hit right at you. That's the one where it's like, fuck, I don't know if I got to come in. I don't know if I got to go back. And very rarely do we ever see Jackie Bradley. Jackie Bradley's a tough standard to live up to. But, Jackie Bradley didn't give a fuck if it was hit right at him or if it was over here, if it was over there. He was probably going to catch that shit. But there was a play earlier in the game on Sunday where a ball was hit over the head of Jaren Duran. Bad route. His routes all year have not been good. And then what inning was that? Was it the 8th?
Yeah, I think it was the 8th inning today.
Yeah.
I think it was the 8th inning.
The 8th inning, just an absolute butcher fest. One of them, it's like, all right, you're not the first guy on this team to lose a ball in the lights or the sun this year. So I can't come down on Duran for losing a ball in the sun. And then he had that play in the right center gap where it's like he's jumping for the ball. And then he even made like a diving play, but like he didn't have to, like a good center fielder doesn't have to dive for that ball. And then after he drops the second one, he's yelling at the fans And like it feels like to me, because I was defending Duran when he first came up, because the whole maturity thing was something that got called into question last year. And then this year I was like, I feel like he's made some strides maturity wise.
Disagree.
And yeah, and then you have the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball quote last week, where it's like,
not a fan of that one.
Yeah, believe in us or don't, but if you don't, then don't cheer for us. So like when we made, it's like, all right, the Red Sox are in last place. Like, let's not chirp about don't believe in us.
It's not the
like,
fans' job to blindly support the team and like just be behind you no matter what's going on. That's not what being a fan is. Being a fan, right. You can see what's in front of you and be like, oh, I'm not a fan of this.
Not a fan of what's been going on all season long. Yeah. And then you had the incident today where Duran makes 2 bad plays. It looks awful, especially coming off the inside the park grand slam.
Which after that, should mention that when speaking to the media, he was like, I'd like to see you out there. Like, talk to me when you can go out there and catch the ball that's in the lights.
Right. Which that's never going to play at any level. You can't be like, hey, fucking Pete Abe, why don't you get out there and shag flies, you fucking fat curmudgeon. You can't do that.
Which, like, at this point, I could go out there and run around and miss a bunch of fucking fly balls. You could pay me to do that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Yeah. I think he handled the media a little bit better this time. But that's not to say that it was like I was visibly cringing. I was cringing watching this unfold. I was not I was at the bar watching it and I put my head down on my arm. I was like, because when it happened the first time, I was like, Jesus Christ. And then when it happened the second time, I was like, oh no. And then I see him yelling at the fans, and I it wasn't a conscious decision. My brain made my head go down into my arm so that I couldn't watch it. I was like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing right now. Like, you can't do that shit. Like, you can't do that. And this is all stuff that I would say to him. Like, I'm not going to pile on the guy. I'm not going to shit on him. This is all something that I would, if I sat down with him tonight and he was in this room, I would say to his face, you can't do that shit. Like, it's almost like it's almost like you're seeing the human version of like responding to trolls on Twitter. You have to, you're playing for the Boston Red Sox. You have to be above that. If you fuck up in the field multiple times, you got to wear that. Like,
you're only doubling down on embarrassing yourself by doing that.
Correct. If you got a bad tweet, it's like you got all the shit replies that you're
getting. Don't tweet through it. He was trying to tweet. He did the baseball equivalent of tweeting through it.
He was trying to tweet through it in center field. And thank God for Alex Verdugo, the voice of reason, coming over to Duran and turning him around and being like, hey, it happens. He talked after the game and mentioned, Tommy Pham came up to him and was like, hey, like that happened to me in Cincinnati. And like, we'll get to the audio in a second. But I cannot explain.
But that's like also why it bothers me, because Duran has rubbed me the wrong way for a couple months at this point, and it bothers me when people come back being like, he's a young kid. Isn't he allowed to figure it out? Yeah, he's allowed to figure it out, but like using the he's a young kid thing is fucking bullshit. He's not 17 years old. He's 25 years old. And you know how old Alex Verdugo is, who fucking was the voice of reason there? He's 26 years old. He's a year older than Jaren Duran. So don't give me like that he's a fucking kid. It's his attitude that makes him seem like a fucking teenager.
Yeah.
There's a point where you either have professionalism or you do not.
Pat, I know that your service time probably wasn't something that could make you be the guy to go up to a player in this scenario in the dugout. But let's just say you've got Matt Barnes type service time. What are you saying to Jaren Duran in that situation if you've been on the Red Sox since 2014 and you see something like that with a young player?
Well, first off, I'll play this game, but just so people at home know how the actual protocol probably would have been dealt with, and Jared knows this, is I probably would have went to a veteran position player and let them do it. We just nudged them and said, hey, listen, we should probably talk to this guy. But let's say play the game, for example. Let's say that it was me doing it. Honestly, it's all dependent on the guy, and I don't want to shit on the kid either. But Pete has a good point. Like, he's not that young. I was, I think, 24 when I got called up, and the things that were said to me coming off that field in the Angels game, they were not nice. And like me, just the type of personality I am, I kind of laughed it off because I was like, well, fuck, that just didn't go my way. Not much I can do about that one. But you go up to a guy like this and either he's got an attitude problem. And if he does, the way I approach him is a little bit sterner and say, either you figure it the fuck out or we're going to find something else. And maybe I go to Alex, maybe I do something like that where it's like, listen, this kid is not the type of guy we want in our clubhouse. And that happens in baseball all the time. If he's a guy we like and he's just he's snowballing right now. He's made a bunch of errors that I think that, are kind of snowballing on top of each other. And maybe not, he might not make all of these if he's having a good year right now. And he's not particularly hitting that well from what I understand as well. So I think he's snowballing and then he's making poor decisions. He's like a baby. He's like a little kid when instead of accepting that he did wrong, he gets defensive and immediately goes. And I can tell you, I played at Kauffman. Not that bad a fan.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say this isn't Yankee Stadium where they were probably hurling vile shit at you.
Yeah.
Like this is the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, like they're not.
They're
probably
like, hey, nice catch.
Yeah,
that's probably.
They're pretty nice over there. I've certainly dealt with worse, and I'm sure he's heard worse in Boston from his own fans. So again, if I'm approaching this kid, it's all dependent on how we feel about him in the clubhouse. If, like I said, if we don't like him, I'm gonna be pretty hard on him. If we do like him, I'll be hard on him, but in a positive way, and try to get him to figure it the fuck out. Because right now he's a pretty aggressive net negative on this club, and we are not in a position where these veterans can worry about their on-field play and have to babysit someone. It's just not where we are as a club.
Yeah, and it's a situation where at worst it's like a shitty attitude problem, and maybe you can't fix it, and at best he is a mental bozo, and either way, that needs to be addressed, and that needs to change. You cannot collapse mentally when things do not go right for you.
Yes, and it's showing what he showed in center field. It's a great point, Pete. Showing what he showed in center field tonight or today is a clear indicator. If I'm Chaim Bloom, let's talk bigger picture here. If I'm Chaim Bloom, I'm hoping this kid has a pretty good rest the next couple months, so maybe I can move him. Because he's a talented kid, but he right now profiles, at least from an outsider's perspective, again, not a 162 guy, hand up, not going to say that I am, but from an outsider's perspective, he profiles as a guy that can't handle Boston, can't handle a big market. He might go out and he might go fucking amazing in Kansas City, and then have all the Red Sox fans like, fuck you, Chaim. This guy is so good, why don't we hold on to him? But a lot of it has to do with the media. Some people just can't when you walk into that clubhouse, and I don't know if you've been there post-game, Jared, I can't remember, but when you're in that clubhouse post game, these motherfuckers, there's 90 of them in the middle of the damn clubhouse. It's out, and you have to walk through them to get to the shower, you have to walk upstairs to get to the damn food. These motherfuckers are everywhere in Boston, and they're not sitting there giving you layups at the end of the day. They are trying to get a quote out of you. They are trying to pull something out of you. I mean, even look at Cotillo. Fucking Alex Cora probably hates the guy. But he's a nice guy. But he's out there trying to get headlines because that's what sells motherfucking newspapers and these things. They need this stuff, And that's what Boston's about. And right now, this kid profiles as a guy that absolutely, under no circumstances, can seemingly handle this, unless he's batting .330 and they're sucking his dick in the clubhouse after the game.
Like, here's my question answering that. Like, because of the way that it was handled after the game, where it's like, he is our center fielder, he is going to be here. Is that good or bad for Jaren Duran? Like, is that more going to serve him well or serve him poorly?
It really depends on the personality. If I had to guess, okay. I hope he doesn't listen. I really don't like shitting on people, but just to be, truthful and honest to our fan bases. You have quite a large fan base here, Jared. I don't want to mislead the people. In my opinion, right now, if I had to guess, coming from a guy who's never met the man and never spoken to him, never asked any of the players about him, so I don't know anything. But coming from this perspective, I would imagine he's a bad clubhouse guy. He's a guy that mopes. And a guy that when he struggles, he's a net negative as far as the personality in the clubhouse, and he's not really bringing a lot to the table. I could be dead wrong, but that's what he profiles in my view right now. With that being said, if that continues on as in the rest of his personality, I would say it's probably a bad thing. I don't. If he's a good kid like a Mookie Betts, where he might struggle in the outfield early on, he only struggled in Portland. He was when he starts figuring out the outfield. You say he's the right fielder, that's good. That's it. All right. I'm going to be here. I don't have to worry about my fucking job. For a guy like Jaren Duran, the way he's currently acted, it's just going to seemingly probably make him more defensive in situations. Like, no, I'm the fucking center fielder. Like, that's what I do. Yeah, I'm not, you hear Heim, you hear these guys, I'm the center fielder. And that's when you get these reactions sometimes where you say, well, why don't you go out there? Well, listen, fucking Chris is fucking 5'4", and he's the least athletic person I've ever met in my life. He's not fucking going out there. And there's a reason why he's asking you questions. He's not in the damn uniform. But if he did a bad fucking job, you can go yell at him for his thing. Like, it's just this defensive attitude is not a good thing. And like you said, Pete, it's probably going to hurt his attitude more than anything. And we need a stronger presence. I don't know who that guy is in this clubhouse, but Xander's a really nice guy. Rafi's not going to say anything yet, not at least that I know of.
JD's a really nice guy.
JD's like Petey would have his foot up this kid's ass.
I cannot imagine like him getting away with what he said last week for Sunday Night Baseball. Like I would assume that there were guys in the clubhouse that were like, "Bro, what the fuck are you saying?" Like that was preposterous to me. That came out of his mouth.
The way he's performing, and Petey's got that, and again, Jared knows Petey much even better than I do, and I was his damn teammate. The way he's performing, the kind of pull that Petey had in that clubhouse, like I said, I wouldn't have been surprised if he got sent down to AAA, at least for a little bit, just to fucking teach him a lesson about whose clubhouse this is. But this is that stuff would never, when I was my first time up in the big leagues, Pedroia was the locker next to me. I didn't say a fucking word. I didn't say anything. I stood there, and if he made eye contact with me, I started sweating and hoping he wasn't going to yell at me. like it was just the respect that motherfucker commanded in the locker room, and it's nothing against Xander Bogaerts. He is an unbelievable human being and like a really good leader by example. But he's not that vocal guy that doesn't.
He's not going to kick your ass.
No, you're not walking around on eggshells when Xander's walking around. But when I was pitching against the Angels, another good example. I was pitching against the Angels, and all of a sudden timeout was called. And I didn't fucking call it, near to Christian Vasquez. And I turn around and Dustin Pedroia is running at me. I almost shit myself on the damn mound. So like you said, sometimes you need that type of presence in the clubhouse. They don't have it right now, at least not that I know of.
I mean, it would have been Chris Sale, but like, what ground does he have to stand on right now when he hasn't contributed all year?
It doesn't. I don't think it fucking matters. Like,
it's in this situation, Pete. You're right. Chris might say something. It seemingly has that kind of personality. Again, I haven't met the gentleman, but
I don't even know that he's with the team right now.
Oh, he's not.
Well,
I
that
I saw something in Boston. Yeah, that matters certainly.
I think Chris Sale's going to be FaceTiming Jaren Duran, being like, "Excuse me, sir."
Put Jaren on the phone. Put him on the phone.
Well, he's certainly not traveling with the team, so he's definitely not in Kansas City.
True.
He might be in Boston doing his rehab, but he's certainly not traveling. That would be ridiculous. But yeah, Chris Sale certainly fits the bill for that type of guy. But
right,
they just don't have that person right now. It just doesn't feel it. And it's indicative to how the team's playing.
Like, does Duran have the most pressure on him of any guy on the team down the stretch? Like, I would vote for him just because, like, number one, you have to prove that you can play consistently and contribute consistently. But you also have to prove now that you're not going to be a guy who is just like a negative force beyond how you're playing.
Yeah. I would say, I'd say Duran probably, he's an everyday guy. I would say most likely he feels a tremendous amount of pressure on him. I will tell you that probably there's a few other guys around, specifically in that bullpen, that feel a lot of weight on their shoulders too, as far as trying to prove themselves. But I would vote Duran as well. That has probably the most pressure on him because, again, like you said, he's got twofold. He's trying to prove that he can play in the big league level, and he's also trying to prove that he's not a doucher.
Yeah. Did you hear the post game audio, Pat?
I did not.
Okay, so I think we're all in agreement that after the Inside the Park Grand Slam, Duran did not handle that well by saying, "Why don't you get out there and fucking catch fly balls to like all these old fucks?" And then like the chirping at the it just doesn't play. Like I told you, it was cringe. Like when Verdugo did it, it was like they threw trash at him, and then he turned around. It was telling them to go fuck themselves, and then he goes and hits a homer.
And that was isolated. That was an isolated incident. This is like a third incident or like a third thing that rubs you the wrong way in the span of like 2 months, if that.
Right. And with this particular incident, I mean, if he didn't catch that ball that he dove for, like if that popped out of his glove, I would have been like, please take him out of the game. Not for discipline,
for his own health,
please,
own mental health.
Like I am so uncomfortable watching this. Like the ball just finds you. Like when it's going bad like that, the ball just fucking finds you. And if he dropped that ball that he laid out for, I would have begged Alex Cora to take him out of the game and be like, hey, please just take him out. And the cameras caught it after the inning. Cora, instead of being like, what the fuck you do? Like he didn't chew him out. You could see him sitting on the bench next to him with like his arm around him being like, hey, it fucking happens. But like, I guess in the moment for the cameras, that's how you handle it. But like, you still have to like sit him down and be like, that shit does not fly. Like I'm not just saying with the Red Sox, like you wear that fucking Red Sox jersey, like this organization doesn't stand for that shit. But in the big leagues, like what team in the big leagues would be like, fuck yeah, dude, you chew that fan out for chirping you for dropping your second fly ball this inning.
I also think that sends a wrong message to the other guys in the dugout if you are not having that conversation. If this kid's throwing a fucking shit fit in center field and you're doing everything right, and then you come back to the dugout and the manager's like, it's okay, buddy, like it happens to the best of us. No, it fucking doesn't. You don't see everybody else out there trying to fight fans.
Oh, no. Also, just before you start, I think you're getting ready to this audio, Jared. Something that I completely just forgotten about. I can guarantee you who is this guy right now getting on fucking Duran, and it's Alex Cora. There's no way that Alex Cora is allowing this type of stuff to get. I mean, again, apparently he handled the media well today. But I guarantee you there's been conversations with Duran and Alex Cora because I played for Alex down in Caguas, Puerto Rico, and he doesn't. He's a fun guy to be around. He's a business guy, but like you fuck around, and he's gonna make sure you know it and make sure you know it's not fucking allowed. So Alex certainly probably is helping put an end to some of this personality stuff.
So here's a detail that I noticed before I play this clip, because if you're listening to this as a podcast, if you haven't seen it on social media, and Pat, you can probably speak to this as well. When players do their post-game interviews, they're not still in uniform wearing their game hat with the eye black on. Jaren Duran is talking to reporters still in his game jersey, still in his game hat with eye black on, which to me says one of two things. Maybe it's both. After the game, I'm sure he felt really shitty about the plays in the outfield and how he handled the interactions with the fans. And maybe he just fucking sat at his locker just like in disbelief of what happened. And he didn't even shower yet because he was just sitting there like in whatever state of emotion that he was in. Or maybe both. He was called into the manager's office after the game, and he probably had a closed door meeting about that, away from the Nesson cameras, away from the reporters in the clubhouse, and maybe away from the entire team. Would you take that away from this? Like how uncommon really is it that a guy is still going to be in full uni addressing the media after a game?
Extremely uncommon. Again, I've had situations like that where if I'm addressing the media in my own uniform, I've done that where, well, not so much that I've done it, but I've done it where I've done so bad in a stretch of time where I have just sat. I used to go to the weight room and sit in there because I just didn't want to hear the, hey bud, you'll be fine, man, and like enough. I know I'll be fine. It is what it is, but like I just didn't want to deal with it, so I was just away from people. So it's uncommon, and you're right. It could go either of those directions. If Alex felt it was necessary to get him before, like right when they get in, certainly a possibility. More likely, he's probably just sulking because a bad thing. I'm sure. I think it's probably that and him kind of just just feeling like shit rather than AC talking to him. Because more times than not, the conversation about something like that comes either at the hotel because the media is not around. Because even when you know how the media is around, Jared, and once they're allowed in there, if Jaren Duran comes out of that manager's office, that's being written about on Twitter immediately.
Correct.
So a lot of times that stuff's handled in the hotel. AC will ask him to come to his hotel room, and they'll have a conversation. Or the next morning before the media is really in the clubhouse, they'll have a conversation. Or even out in the center field when BP's going on, they'll do stuff like that. So it's probably more likely just him sulking, but it could go either direction. If Alex thought it was necessary, he might have called him in immediately.
I got a question.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You ever just finish out a bad game and just like have a nice cry in the clubhouse?
I don't ever remember crying, but if there was ever a time I was going to, it was probably, I do remember one particular time. And then when I tell you about the weight room, it was AAA in Pawtucket. It was, I think, 2015. I was like, I had lost all control. I had no idea where the ball was going anymore. I was embarrassed to be out there. And I went through like a stretch where I was like terrible. And I remember coming in and like BJ, for those that probably know him as Brian Johnson, Brian was always my roommate, my best friend on the team. Like I just like put my glove down in my locker, and he knew not to fucking talk to me most times because me and him were close. I just put my glove down. I just walked right into the weight room because no one was in there. I just sat there for like 45 minutes. BJ, I think, came in at when he's in street clothes. He's like, "You good, man?" Like, yeah, and then he just left. And I stayed there for like another 2 hours. And I just showered by myself, like did everything. I don't remember crying, but it certainly, that was as close as I would have come, was that fucking time in 2015.
Yeah, I was curious. I'm pro cry. Yeah. A nice cry can help. A nice cry can help.
Oh, it can start. I'm a big crier in movies, not to get off topic.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
I tear up. What's that
You
new
and
movie
me both, brother.
Sandra said that.
Yeah, what's the new movie? Top Gun.
Oh, you took a cry during Top Gun? Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, there was a moment. Have you seen it?
I've seen it like 4 times. That movie rocks.
So there was towards the end. I don't want to give anything. I don't want to do spoilers, but damn, it was fucking pulling on the old heartstrings. It really got me going there.
I'm pro cry. Let's.
Maybe that's why I have a mental breakdown every November, is because I just bottle everything up until the season's over.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Every November, I'm like, I'm going to kill myself.
Jared, you need to just schedule like a nice quarterly cry, and I think it'll serve you really well.
Quarterly?
Yeah.
At least bi-quarterly.
Oh my God. Yeah. Every November, it's just like the season ends and I'm like, oh man, like that thing that happened in March. Fuck. God damn, that was fucked up. How'd she do me like that? And then every November.
Yeah, just a quarterly cry, man. Just like put it in a Google Calendar.
All right. I'll try and get to that. But the word that Pat used that I don't know how it slipped my mind, he's embarrassed. Like that's very embarrassing to have that happen. And I mean, it's not the best comparison in the world, but there's definitely, like when I worked at Barstool, there was definitely times where like something happened and I was like, I don't want to be here. Like, get me the fuck out of here. Yeah. Why are all these people looking at me? There's cameras in my face. And I fucking snapped. Like, you're not thinking clearly. Like, there was a handful of times that like, whatever, you're getting your balls busted or like this happens or like people just being assholes, but you have cameras in your face on top of that. And it's like, oh my God, like you feel like the world is laughing at you.
Yeah.
And the response to that is anger and lashing out. And that's exactly what happened with Jaren Duran. So like, I cannot sit here. And I mean, I did that shit when I was like 29.
Right.
He's 25, like 25, whatever. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, dude, grow up. Like I know the feeling. It fucking sucks. So what I can sort of criticize was his post-game comments after the Inside the Park Grand Slam. And I kind of wanted, I don't care if it was, hand-fed from Alex Cora or a teammate. Like, here's what you say when they ask you about it. Say this. I don't care if it came from somewhere else, if it was his own words or whatever. But here's how he handled it.
All of them are really out right out in the open, and then just last second they got in the sun. So it was kind of too late to call for help or anything. But I tried my best to put my hand up, had my glasses on, try to get the angle, but I'm just right in the middle of the sun.
Kind of got it a little bit from the fans, and you gave it back a little bit. Doogie came over and talked to you there. Were you able to calm it down and get back, refocus quickly, or sort of what happened there?
Yeah, I was just talking to Doogie, and Doogie just came over and just kind of patted me on the back and said, "Hey, man, don't worry about it. Like, we all have those days."
What's it mean to have a teammate come to you quickly and sort of help you in that moment?
It means a lot. Yeah, you think that you're alone out there when stuff like that happens, and then you realize that other guys have done it. Like Tommy Pham told me, he's like, I had 3 sunballs in Cincinnati, and they were just kind of telling me, like, it happens, even though you think you're the only one that's ever happened to.
I mean, he sounds like
he's clearly going through it. Like, he's clearly going through it. And like, at the end of the day, there's
the other thing too in this clip, he does not make eye contact with the people asking him. He's looking down. Like his body language is that of like a small child that got caught doing something, and now he has to like talk to his parents after, who are very pissed.
Yeah. And like, at the end of the day, there is a difference between saying that somebody is acting like an asshole and saying that somebody is an asshole. I think that Jaren Duran is acting like an asshole, or has acted like an asshole at several points over the past month or so. That's not to say that he's an asshole. Like, he has to figure it out. But like, and when you were talking about like, sometimes that shit just makes you snap. And when you're in those situations, it just feels like a lot of the times it's just one thing after the other, and like everything is going poorly. And given the way that this Red Sox season has been going and the way that things have been going personally for Jaren Duran, I would not blame him if all that shit snowballed and like gets to a point where you do snap or you do reach your breaking point. But as a guy in his position, he needs to figure out how to channel it, and he needs to figure out how to contain it. And he hasn't been able to do that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that there were a lot of things to take from that particular 1-minute clip. Number one, again, the fact that he was still in uniform. I'm sure like there's a difference between a player that fucks up and then they'll, snap on a fan, and then it's like, yeah, whatever, dude, fuck you, I don't care. Like, it is what it is. Like, that wasn't his response. Like, I think he fucked up. Like, I think he was embarrassed, and it's not like it coming off of the Inside the Park Grand Slam. He probably did feel that way, where it's like, all right, well, what's next? Like, why me? Why does this keep happening? But our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. We're here in New York City. I had to bring the to-go packs with me. I started taking AG1 because I wanted to get better gut health and more energy. And now that I've been on it for a few weeks, I feel great. So what is it? It's the question that keep getting DMs. Be like, what is AG1? What is it? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. And here's why I love it. It's because I do so many podcasts a week. I watch 1 billion games a week. I'm exhausted. I'm traveling, waking up, and I take my AG1, gives me the energy that I need to talk to these idiots all the time, be entertaining sometimes on my A game. It's got all my vitamins and minerals that I need in one easy scoop. That's all it is. Now that I'm on the road more, I can use those to-go packs. Jake, you got your to-go packs?
Yeah, don't leave home without it.
I know.
That's right.
It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit, which is true. I think I got a cold brew and it was like $6.75 or something like that. That's 2 to-go packs. It supports better sleep quality and recovery. Pat, you're looking pretty swole these days.
Yeah, I'm fucking jacked.
How's your sleep and recovery doing?
Could it be better now?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, there you go. I didn't know that you were an AG1 guy. That's awesome.
Big AG. I'm a big gut health guy because I drink so much.
That's true. Yeah, you do.
Really
yeah, you do.
Gut.
Yeah, it really does. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every single day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. I talked about it a couple of podcasts ago about the taste. Tastes great. I can't put my finger on what it tastes like. That's probably because I'm not like a big like a vegetable guy.
I'd rather no drink them. Either. No clue.
Yeah. Like it's got a very unique taste, but it tastes good, but it doesn't taste like anything that I've ever tasted before. It's very hard to explain. If you're listening to this and you try AG1 and it tastes like something that you've had before, then let me know what it tastes like because I'm not really sure. But to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune system supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Red Sox. That is athleticgreens.com/Red Sox to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Shall we look ahead? Not that it fucking matters anymore. This team stinks.
Hey, before we do, Jared, I just want to
sure.
talk quickly about my take on that Duran interview because I was pretty harsh on the kid.
Yeah.
I will say that after that little soundbite, it did sound like a guy that might not be a douche.
Mm-hmm.
So jury's still out on this guy. I'm not saying he is or he's not. And guys, like Jared said, we've all been there where you fuck up, you're embarrassed, and instead of owning up to it, you just kind of get in defensive mode because it feels like the world's on you. At the end of the day, I've read a decent amount of psychology books, and it seems as though the human brain and the human psychology really isn't supposed to be able to handle this type of stuff, and that's why it's so unique that these guys can, and something that I used to blame coaches and stuff like that for fucking me in the head. When in reality, I think once I got to a certain level of pressure, I just wasn't built to be able to deal with that type of stuff at that high of a level. And some guys aren't like that. And who knows what Jaren might have it, just might be going through a tough stretch, but he just came off less douchey there. So I give him the benefit of the doubt for the time being that I hope he turns it around.
Yeah, I mean he's very clearly wearing it. And I think ultimately he will come out on the other side of this better because it happened. But that can't happen again. Like he's going to fuck up defensively again because at the end of the day, he's not the best defensive center fielder that we've ever seen. Not anything close to it. He's got to work on his game defensively. His routes are bad. His reads are bad. But in terms of how you handle that,
it's a response, man. Like it's not, you can forgive a guy for fucking up. Like it happens. And especially it's going to happen if you're not playing your natural position. I don't think anybody's really crushing him for, well, I guess, I mean, I'm sure there are people that are crushing him for the lack of play, but really what rubs me the wrong way is the response to the mistakes.
Yeah. Yes. Like be accountable. And I think the easiest one was the inside the park grand slam. It's like, yeah, I lost it in the lights. I was pissed that it was an embarrassing moment for me. I should have ran after it. I had a moment and it'll never happen again. That's it.
Like, this is something I put in my own world is like, think about my career. And if I had responded to the media after my appearances this way, like if I said like fucking you guys get out there and try to throw a fucking slider to Albert Pujols, you gotta be fucking kidding me! Like you see that guy? Like, all right, well, don't fucking root for me when I'm fucking good, guys. All right, fuck off.
Accountability and self-awareness go a long way. Accountability and self-awareness go a long fucking way, man. They really do.
Way. Yes, they really do. And again, they weren't really interviewing me after those games anyway, but I always was like, I fucking suck. Chris Sale, it's one of the reasons Chris Sale's so likable. You guy's a fucking lunatic of a human being. But like when he sucks, he fucking lets you know. Same with Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes has had a fucking terrible year through injuries and struggling with how he's pitching. But every time he sucks, he's like, "Yep, I fucking sucked." I love that. And it's something you can get on board with because everyone sucks at their job every now and again.
Right. Yep.
Boom.
So I would venture to guess that I'm crossing my fingers here. That's the last time that we'll see some sort of immature moment from Duran. That can't happen again. And judging by that reaction after the game, I'm sure that he had him like the misplay was an embarrassment and snapping with the fan was even more embarrassing. Like he was I fucking cringed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he knows, like, hey, it's already a win that he knows that was cringy. Like immediately you walk off the field. I'm sure like he's not even on social media, but if he was, that's not something that you're checking tonight. You're probably going to shut off your phone and you're going to try and sleep this one off and get back at it tomorrow. But yeah, I would venture to guess that that's the last that we're going to see of something to that degree of immaturity from Duran.
Pat seems to disagree about the social media thing.
Oh, yeah, dude. When I fucking sucked, I was on that shit like you wouldn't believe.
Well, he doesn't have social media.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he might have a burner account. But yeah, dude, like when I remember sitting in the hotel room with my parents, my mom was like sulking about how bad I did. And I'm sitting over there scrolling through Twitter, just reading some of the meanest things people have ever said.
What was the meanest thing you ever read about yourself on the internet?
Oh no.
Just like death threat. Not death threats, like, but like
I hope you die or whatever.
Yeah, like die. We could go back through my mentions back in the time. I wish. How is it easy to look that up of like mentions from July 2nd, 2016?
I think you can you can like search a specific date or something, and then like keyword like Pat Light or whatever.
Oh
yeah, I'll look it up.
Oh
for
man,
you. Yeah, please, because
this is the segment I didn't know we were gonna get, but I'm loving it right now.
Yeah. So what's today? Today's Sunday.
Yeah.
This is a 3 episode week, by the way.
Yeah.
We got a 1-gamer against Baltimore after this 2-game set. Thank fucking God we got an off day tomorrow. We got a 2-gamer against the Braves, a 1-game against the Orioles.
we doing a podcast for a 1-game series?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
mm-hmm.
Okay,
you know
cool.
We'll save it for the Orioles because we're only gonna have 1 game to go off of. On after the Orioles game on what's that, Thursday?
Yeah.
The Thursday night into Friday morning podcast, we will read all of your tweets at Pat Light the night that he gave up 17 runs to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim back on, what was the date?
July 2nd, 2016, baby.
You should get that date tattooed on you somewhere. And whenever everyone asks, you just be like, yeah, that was the day. That was the day that I found God. That was the day that I saw Jesus for the first time.
Oh, boy, did I see him.
Boy, did I see him. Oh, boy. Interesting. Yeah. All right. Before we get to the Stop and Shop look ahead, I just want to make sure that we're all drinking Blue Moons tonight. That's something that's going to happen. Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm going to be drinking some Blue Moons. Tomorrow, I'm going to be drinking some Blue Moons because I'm going to the Mets game, taking a little BP on the field before the game, Jake.
Yeah. Gonna need some Blue Moons after that.
What about during?
I think you could swing that.
Yeah. Why not? I would. Pat, you ever drank a beer before a game?
No.
That's a yes.
No, I don't think I have. I've had a scotch in the bullpen though.
Okay. Do you wish that you could go back and drink a Blue Moon before a game?
I think I would have played a lot better if it was just the Blue Moon, not the scotch.
I think so. Yeah, because baseball and beer go hand in hand, and Blue Moon is the perfect stadium companion with its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, iconic orange slice ritual, and authentic ballpark roots. In fact, Blue Moon was born in a ballpark, first created at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado. From the first pitch to extra innings, a Blue Moon guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience every time. Pat likes drinking Blue Moons before the game. I'm going to be drinking some Blue Moons tomorrow at Citi Field. Pete, what was your favorite Blue Moon experience?
The next one.
Oh, shit. I love that. From its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander. Blue Moon Belgian White is one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Why strike out with that same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Best served with a signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful hazy color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Break out of your same old beer slump. Blue Moon Belgian White is one of a kind every time. Get Blue Moon Belgian White delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared to see your delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company Golden, Colorado Ale. That last part always fucks with me every single time. All right. It is the Stop and Shop look ahead, brought to you by Stop and Shop. We got two games. I'm gonna combine, if you don't mind. I'm gonna combine. Or should I save? Should I save I probably just do the Braves.
Yeah.
Because we're doing one after.
We'll have a look ahead on Wednesday.
All right. So this is just the Braves. Okay. On Tuesday, on TBS. Why is the game on TBS?
Braves. Home cooking.
Rich Hill versus Charlie Morton. And then Nick Pivetta versus Kyle Wright. Okay. Charlie Morton. I like Charlie Morton. I liked him a lot when he was in Tampa too. 5-5 with a 4.09 ERA, a 121 WHIP, 10.3 strikeouts per nine. 21 starts in the year, 116 innings. It's consistent. We love a consistent Chuck. He's drilled more hitters than anyone else in Major League Baseball this year, 14. Home runs, a little bit of an issue. His home runs per 9 innings is his worst mark since 2010. He's thrown at least 5 innings in every start since May 25th. He's had 10 plus strikeouts in 3 starts this year and 6 starts of at least 8 strikeouts. He's much better at home than he is on the road. And this game is on the road. He has 10 starts on the road, 2-4 with a 4.82 and a 129 WHIP with a 9.5 strikeouts per inning, per 9. He's 38 years old and he's still averaging 95 miles an hour with his fastball. So that's pretty good. I didn't realize he was that old. I like Charlie Morton. I wish he was on the Red Sox at some point. The Braves somehow are 11-20 when he starts and 1-3 in his last 4. Red Sox hitters 288 with a 336 on base, a 403 slug. Bogey 11 for 32, 3 doubles, a homer, 895 OPS, and then Eric Hosmer, who made his debut with the Boston Red Sox in this series against Kansas City Royals, got 15 fucking standing ovations. That was bananas. I get it. He won you a World Series 6 years ago. 7 years ago? 7 years ago. The first one was great. I don't know why I'm being salty about the Royals giving him a standing ovation. It was fine. 4 for 10, 2 doubles, a homer, and 4 strikeouts at 1355 OPS for Hosmer against Chuck Morton. Kyle Wright, 13-5, a 320 ERA. He's having a good year. Coming into 2022, Wright had 70 innings in his career across 4 years and had a 6.56 ERA. He's having a breakout season, but he got his shit pushed in his last time out, which was against the Mets, who are red hot. They just took 4 out of 5 against the Braves. Is that right?
Yeah. 4
out of 5 against the Braves. 6 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, and 4 homers. 4 homers against the Mets. It was tied for the most runs he's allowed this year. The second fewest strikeouts. Yeah, that's bad. A lot of homers. He's allowed 4+ earned runs in 4 of 21 starts. He's another guy that's not very good on the road, or as good. He's not as good on the road. 8 starts on the road, 4-3 at 349, which is still pretty good. In the second half, he's not been great. 3 starts in the second half. He's 2-1 with a 482, but that's obviously ballooned because of the that start against the Mets. His 4-seam fucking sucks. 95.2 miles an hour, but it's a 312 batting average against a 548 slug and a 420 weighted on base. He did pitch against the Red Sox earlier this year. 4 2/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs. That was bad. His worst start of the season. We played the fucking Braves this year. Did they come to Fenway? I mean, no. Did we go there?
They can't be at Fenway, right? They wouldn't come twice in a year.
No.
Did they already
When
come?
the fuck? We played the Braves? Why do I not remember that?
I don't either. That's not super surprising, though.
Let's see. That would have been on May 10th. On May 10th. Yeah. On May 10th. 4 2/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 walks. Why don't I remember playing the fucking Braves this year?
2-game series in Atlanta earlier this year in May 10th and 11th, and they split.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, why are we playing the Braves? Don't we usually just pick
They walked us off.
Yeah, off Brazier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, they walked us off. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that totally slipped my mind until I remembered that finish. Yeah. Okay. The Braves are 15-6 when he pitches. They lost his last outing, but won his previous 7. Devers 2 for 4, double homer. JD 0 for 7 with 3 strikeouts. Okay. What do we think, Peter?
Oh, God. Fuck, man. I'm gonna say they win 1. Sox win 1.
Split.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to one of those games.
Why?
Because I gotta chip away at it. Like if I get hit by 20 paintballs from 5 feet away, like I may like start internally bleeding and die. Like I think I gotta cut it down to like 10.
What was the bet again?
As many games as I fall short of 30 is how many paintballs I have to take from like 10 feet away, 5 or 10 feet away.
Okay. So for every game that you go to, you take one
paintball away.
out of the hopper.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get
How
to
many
20,
have you been to?
I think. I've been to 10. Like I got to start doing some damage here.
Oof.
I'm going to go to at least one Braves game and then I'm going to 2 games this weekend against the Yankees.
Dude, please. Who's shooting you?
It's got to be you, I think.
If you don't
the entire podcast can take turns if they want to.
Yeah,
I'll feel I can't shoot you 15 times, dude. Like I've gotten shot with a paintball before. It fucking hurts.
Oh yeah.
You know what we should do? At the end of the season, I think we should do a team bonding experience. We'll go to like an indoor paintball place. So like at the end of the day, like we'll all get shot, but like we're going to shoot Pete like a lot from point blank.
That's fair. And also we'll have like professionals to be like, you can't do that. Like have somebody there. So have an adult in the room to say like, okay, this will not kill him. Have at it.
Well, I think we would film it.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, hey, listen, we're doing this for content.
I'm not taking 20 paintball shots if there's no content being made out of it.
Yeah, like we'll go to like a paintball place and be like, listen, here's the deal. Like Pete was supposed to go to 30 games. He only went to 12. So
I'm doing more than 12. I'm going to 3 games this week. 3 games this week.
You're going to all 3?
No. I'm going to one of the Braves and then 2 against the Yankees this weekend.
Okay. I think I'm going to be there on Friday.
Yeah.
Or I know I'm going to be there on Friday.
Can I go with you on Friday?
So Yeah.
Cool. Because I'm going on Saturday on my own account.
With who?
One of my friends is getting married, and his wife to be big Red Sox family, but his family is Yankees fans. So as like a wedding thing, they got like a box at Fenway.
I mean, I'm already predicting a sweep this weekend for the Red Sox.
I love that.
Pat, are you coming to Fenway this weekend? Because I mean, they did pretty decent last time the Yankees visited Fenway. We had a good time too.
We did.
You should come this weekend. You should come, Pat.
I can't, unfortunately.
Pat, you should come.
I'd love to.
What do you got going on?
I have some family obligations.
Tell them to come too.
Yeah, tell them to come. I'll get your whole family a suite.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah, you should come. What do you think?
Probably not gonna happen.
Come on. I'll get you BP passes.
Yeah.
I'll get you down on the field. You ever been down on the field before?
Yeah, been there a few times.
Yeah.
Not enjoyable.
For you.
Yeah.
Your family might love it though.
Yeah, they've been down there too.
Yeah, okay. All right, so it's a maybe.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Pat's in for this weekend. What time's the game on Saturday? Is it a night game? I might go Saturday too if it's like a 7:00 game.
Probably do like 11:35 in the morning so people don't watch it.
So people don't watch it.
Saturday's game is a 7:15 start.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, okay. Jake, you want to come with me on Saturday?
I'm down to go Saturday.
All
They
right,
also
Jake's coming with me on
They also
Saturday.
have Sunday night baseball.
Yeah.
Hey, Sunday night baseball against the Yankees.
That's the fucking night that I'm throwing out the first pitch.
At Fenway?
Yeah.
You're throwing out the first pitch at Fenway against the Yankees on a Sunday night baseball?
Sunday night baseball, yeah.
That is fucking preposterous.
Why?
Like that's like the prime time of all prime time first pitches. Doesn't matter how shitty the team is. Like,
I am prime time.
I mean, apparently, I hate fucking blowing your head up, but like, holy fuck, that is the prime time of first pitches.
They were like, "Hey, we need to get it going. How do we fire up the boys? Bring in Jared to throw out the first.
Like
pitch,
that might be
Red
a
Sox,
bigger
Yankees,
pitch than
Sunday night
Pat
baseball.
Light has ever thrown.
Definitely.
Definitely. I mean, I might have Benintendi catch it. I'm the first ever Yankee to catch a first pitch at Fenway Park.
That would cause some problems.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I don't think so. Well, yeah, I'm throwing out the first pitch Sunday Night Baseball, dude.
Is there like a particular reason?
Just being the fucking man, I guess.
Okay.
They were like, we need to fire up the boys.
See, this is why I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying.
Let's move on.
I'm just saying. If you're gonna fire up the boys, how do you do it? You're definitely not gonna have fucking what's her name, Sydney Swanson or whatever the fuck.
Sydney Sweeney. Listen, pal. You might be a big deal, but you're not as big as those.
Yeah, she's got some. Did you watch that movie?
I haven't yet.
Oh, Pete, come on, dude.
I know.
Did you watch it, Jake?
No.
Pat?
I don't even know what movie you're talking about.
The Voyeurs?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I feel
God.
like because the Red Sox are so bad right now that we should have like homework assignments for every episode to like bring into the next episode. And watching Voyeurs might be like our homework for next episode.
You see those ham hocks for a chunk of time. It is not a brief, hey, how you doing? It is a scene.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched Euphoria too. That's how I know her from. And like by season 2 of Euphoria, they're like, okay, we need this girl's boobs on screen like 40% of the show.
What'd you say the show's called?
Euphoria.
Okay. Just trying to check it out.
You both are on your phones right now typing in Euphoria. Pat literally Googling. Love it. I was making a joke. Pat immediately turns his phone around and just pictures of Sydney Sweeney. Amazing.
Pat's just gonna like go to like MrSkin.com. Like, just show me all this. I'm not trying to watch the whole show. Well.
She
all
put
right.
the first pitch already. Oh,
they got absolutely fucking hammered by the Blue Jays. That was the game that she threw out the first pitch.
I understand now.
Just she did not deserve that at all.
No, she deserves.
Honestly, like Jared, if you were a real fucking gentleman and a man of just any sort of integrity, you would surrender your spot to throw out the first pitch and allow Sydney Sweeney to have a redo at Fenway and get her redemption and see a game that she deserves to see.
I'll text her.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll reach out. I mean, the last time that I tweeted at her, I got roasted in the replies. Everyone was like, "She don't know you, lil bro."
Well, prove them wrong. Sounds like a challenge. Sydney Sweeney, come on the podcast.
All right, I'll ask her. All right.
Pat, I'm excited to see you.
Oh, wait, we didn't finish our predictions. Jake, fucking, what's your prediction?
They'll sweep.
Jake is a broken man.
You said they'll, but you didn't specify they.
Yeah, who's they?
Might have been intentional.
It might have been intentional. What are you doing tonight, Jake? You gonna watch the Voyeurs?
Could pop it on for a couple minutes.
Pat, what's your prediction?
I got the Red Sox sweeping.
Oh, okay.
And I want to give a reason. The reason I have the Red Sox sweeping is because whatever you think this team's going to do, they're going to do the exact fucking opposite. So we thought they were going to get crushed by the Astros. We win that series. We thought we'd crush the Royals. We get crushed. So listen, we're going to beat the Braves. We're going to sweep. We're going to help the Mets out because we're team players in Boston. And even though we might not make the World Series, we want to make sure we set up this Mets team to fucking go all the way.
Are we all in on the Mets as Red Sox fans? Because I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like the Mets, maybe it's a mutual hatred of the Yankees, but Red Sox and Mets fans are kind of like, yeah, we see you.
Same boat.
Yeah. I'm down with getting behind the Mets.
I think if the Mets are in a Subway World Series, I think we have the podcast come down and we'll have we'll sit, we'll get some great seats because of Jake, and we'll sit behind home plate at Citi Field and at Yankee Stadium and just be fucking locked in for the Mets.
Yeah, if the Red Sox don't make the playoffs, which can we rebrand as a Mets podcast for a month?
Very easy. We don't have a name for the podcast. We can.
That's true. We won't even have to change the name.
No,
right.
you can do everything.
We'll just have a name.
So we've decided on a name. It's the #1 Mets podcast, the most listened to Red Sox podcast in the world.
It'd be a great name.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Sure. Are you doing a fucking scratch
what the
off right
fuck
now,
is
Pat?
going on?
Oh, you didn't hear that?
Yeah, I think I honestly think that your mic has not been plugged in the entire episode.
It hasn't because he's recording locally.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm recording on Audacity.
Okay,
with the right mic. Don't worry.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Oh, so that's why you can hear that, because I was like, this mic shouldn't pick that up. Yeah, I was just fucking around.
Yeah, it's
John.
We're hearing what's coming through your laptop.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could change that, but we'll do that for next time.
That's fine. That's fine. I love it.
We love it.
No one asked, but I got a split.
Okay.
All right,
we'll be back on Wednesday night to talk about this 2-game series and preview the 1-game series against the Orioles.
I'm excited for that one.
That's gonna be a good pod. I mean, I think the Thursday night pod's gonna be better.
What, recapping the 1 game?
Yes. We're just gonna have 1 game. I mean, by the way, we didn't really talk about any of the games. We played a 4-game series. We didn't talk about any of them.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, we didn't. We need to talk about the X's and O's of those games.
I don't think the X's and O's are relevant. Although I will, as far as X's and O's in the podcast, since I will be here for all episodes. I'm actually moving a dinner on Thursday that I have planned, a business meeting solely to make this podcast.
That's amazing.
But Pete, I'm gonna need you to change your name next time to Pete B.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
This is my first time or second time in Riverside, so I will change that next time. Sorry.
Appreciate that.
That's on me.
Sorry.
That's on me.
Sorry.
Like I said, accountability and self-awareness goes a long way, and
Yeah, really
hand up, that's on me.
Yeah, you
Listen,
didn't yell
I'm
back
just
at me.
saying, I'm not trying to give you guys more work or things to do. I know you're both very busy with your real jobs.
I'm not. I'm done now.
So I don't know what you guys would talk about, but a spin-off podcast called Pete B and Pat L, I think would do really well. I don't know what the fuck what would you guys talk about?
I don't know. I think that would be the allure of it, is that we just turn on the mics and go. We'd find a way.
So I don't I guess I kind of listen to I'll still listen to Kirk Minahan show, and I'll listen to KFC radio here and there. I listen to Dave's show, but this would be a podcast that when I would subscribe and get notifications, and when it dropped, I would be like, oh shit, a new
Drop
PP
everything.
show.
Need to go listen to it.
Yeah. I think you could get away with doing a 35, 40-minute podcast and just once a week or whenever you guys wanted to do it.
Jared's gonna get a notification on his phone that Pete B and Pat L dropped their first episode. It's 6.5 hours long.
Well, the chances of that happening would be pretty significant, because I feel like we'd both be very drunk if we were to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And we would be like, oh shit, we've been podcasting for 4.5 hours, and we're both blacked out. All right, see you, everybody. Yeah. Here you go, Jake.
You should do it. You should do it. Will you guys agree to a pilot?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. It would need to be in person, I think.
Yeah, be in person.
Because-
I think it's great for
Good
off
luck.
season too.
Yeah. Either that,
Okay.
or we start a Patreon for this show, and those are the bonus episodes.
Yeah, you guys do whatever you want. I just want to listen. I just want to hear you guys talk to each other.
It's more of a social experiment than anything.
Yeah.
It's more of a social experiment than a podcast.
Yeah, I put it this way. If you guys did the Pete B, Pat L show, I will promise to help promote it.
Hell yeah.
I'll retweet it. I'll put it on my Instagram. I'll make sure that people know that it's out there.
Appreciate that.
I love that.
Team player.
I'm a team player. It's only because I'm trying to give you every incentive to do it, because I want, I feel like I don't have a podcast that's my own. With Kirk's show, I was on it, so it's weird. With Dave's show, he talks about me every episode, so it's weird. And then with Kevin's show, I've been on it too. It's weird. I need a show that's out here. I'll never come on as a guest.
Yeah, we would never have you.
Thank you. I just want you guys to talk, and I want to see where it goes. I want to look at the description of every episode and be like, they're talking about what? And then tune in. That's what I want.
Show.
Be a fucking awesome show.
I'm in.
Same.
Okay.
First
All right, PP
episode
and Pat
recording
L.
this weekend when Pat's here with his family.
Definitely. Jake's gonna have a separate group chat for me and Pete to record this thing, and both of us would be like, "Nope, can't do it tonight."
Sent the link, and me and Pat just, can we push it back an hour? And then an hour comes. What about another hour?
And we push it to September. September is wide open for me right now.
All right. PP and Pat L show. It has to be called that, though.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. All right. That's our show today. And we'll be back on Thursday morning? Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Thursday morning. Red Sox fans, enjoy your off day. You need it. And we'll see you Thursday.
Buenas noches, amigos.